From inclusive finance to sustainable economies, Africa is building its future. This is The Sound of Progress, a podcast by FSD Africa. This is Financing Africa's Future.
Hello and a warm welcome to Financing Africa's Future, a podcast by FSD Africa. We get to discuss deepening financial markets, adaptation and climate finance, financial inclusion, and so much more, all the while shining the spotlight on the many actors and players who are causing waves in this space. And today we are very pleased to be joined by Elias Omondi, Principal for Innovation at FSD Africa. It's our pleasure to have you, Elias.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it's always exciting to really discuss matters that will help build resilience across the African continent. And I'm happy to be here.
Elias, to get it going, please introduce yourself to us and tell us the work that you do, you and your team at FSD Africa, and why this matters.
Yeah, so basically I work on a team that deals with adaptation and resilience at FSD Africa, and our work predominantly focuses on scaling insurance and really looking at how then we can build adaptation finance, particularly trying to address the protection gap that is quite huge across Africa, really looking at how ways in which we can address climate-related risks within the continent.
Let's talk and try to frame the performance of the African financial sector within the wider financial services sector across the continent.
I'll basically try and talk about insurance because for African continents to build resilience, there is need to provide protection. And if you look at this particular space within the continent, the insurance penetration is quite low compared to the world average. Africa still stands at around 3.5% of the GDP being contributed by the insurance solutions. If you compare that with the global average, it's around 7%.
Right.
But also if you look at the insurance per capita in Africa, stands at around $46, which is below $50. And if you compare that with the continent average is around $6,111. So you kind of see that there's a big gap that really needs to be addressed. And that's why, really looking at how we can build resilience through risk transfer mechanisms such as insurance is important.
I mean, as you have said, the African insurance sector tends to be quite underperforming compared with many of her global peers. And I suspect that the answer to this question is quite complex, but I'm going to still ask it nonetheless. Why is the African financial insurance sector not performing the way it should be?
If you look at the structure of risk transfers across Africa, it's still a big challenge. And this is because of three major challenges that we've kind of seen across the insurance ecosystem. Awareness is a big challenge. If you look at how the continent really kind of understands this particular financial solution, it's still a big issue that we really need to build awareness. The second component is around access. There's still a number of people that cannot really get hold of these solutions. And the third is affordability. Most of the time, they are not able to pay for these financial products. So there's need really also to see how then we can address those three major challenges. So it's awareness, access, and affordability. And that has really impacted the growth of insurance across Africa.
Quite interconnected and complex challenges right there. And I know that FSD Africa does interventions both upstream, that is in policy and regulation reforms, but also downstream by supporting, demonstrating, and piloting transactions. How does your work play out? How does that play out in your work area?
What we are trying to do and what we've done over the last 5 years is to close that gap. I did mention that the protection gap is huge. And with that, then there's need for us to really think through how then we can develop highly inclusive and innovative risk transfer solutions. And what we do at FSD Africa is by addressing this challenge using three mechanisms. One, how then we build ecosystems and platforms that will scale insurance. And you're already aware that we are working on a very innovative program called BimaLab. The second element is how then we catalyze innovation, how then do we enable innovators that can help us address these particular challenges, to get their technical capacity, to connect them to our potential funders, and really give them catalytic capital to scale. And lastly is developing or building an enabling environment. So if we can do these three important elements that I've mentioned, building ecosystems, catalyzing innovative insurance solutions, providing technical capacity to innovators, then we should be able to come up with a way in which the continent will be protected.
Well, BimaLab is quite a famous and quite well-known program across the continent. And I wonder, how did it start and how does it provide support to the various players in the sector, as you've mentioned?
Yeah, so BimaLab started back in 2021. And this was where we were looking at really transitioning and building an effective insurance ecosystem. Basically to address some of the three challenges that I mentioned earlier. So what BimaLab is doing is really bringing together ecosystem players. These are innovators,
yes,
investors, policymakers, financial institutions, and regulators to come together to address this challenge of access and affordability and awareness around the insurance ecosystem. So what we do at BimaLab is that we enable innovators to be provided with technical capacity in terms of developing products that do meet the needs of the African citizens. We also look at how then we can enable them to access funding by kind of attracting very patient investors through catalytic funding,
right,
that will enable insurance these innovators to develop solutions. But lastly, also bringing in innovators and bringing in regulators to create an enabling environment, because some of the solutions are quite innovative and novel in terms of, there are no existing regulations around them. So there's need for regulators to allow testing of this solution. So that is what BimaLab does, bringing together these ecosystem players, providing technical capacity, enabling connections, but also access to patient funding.
Wow, quite well done. And of course, regulation and is quite an interesting space, because regulators on one hand have to ensure that, investments are protected and the end users get the right value for their money and they are not taken for a ride. While at the same time, they may need to rejig the policy space a bit to allow for innovation. How is that playing out?
That has been quite an exciting journey, generally, based on, our experience over the last 5 years. Just to mention, at the moment, we work with over 20 central banks and insurance regulators across the continent. And what we are trying to do is to enable them to understand that, these emerging risks need a different set of regulations. And what we do is then enable them to kind of develop highly responsive, I would say, regulations, and also really allow for testing within a safe space. So we've seen regulators really adapting to these particular changes that will influence the future of insurance regulation across the continent. Though it's still a journey that we'll have to take with them, they're taking a risk of testing the solutions under control environment. And that gives the innovators an opportunity to go to market with some form of trust, because yes, customers will always buy a product that they believe that, the regulator has kind of certified, and they feel that they are protected at the long end.
Wow, let's talk a little bit about some of the shining examples of alumni who've benefited from the BimaLab program. Who are they and what exactly are they doing?
This is whereby it becomes difficult to pick out one. Just to mention, we've supported over 100 innovators across 25 countries.
Wow, quite a large number, I agree.
And, all of their solutions are unique. You'll be able to see solutions that are ranging from climate to health to SMEs to gender, really cutting across some of the major challenges that the continent is facing. And just to mention what we are doing and what we've seen is the appreciation of these particular products by the people in Africa that these particular products are targeted to. So these solutions range from, enabling customers to have flexible payment mechanisms, ease of access and last mile delivery, highly innovative ways in which, customers can pay for their products. So for instance, there are solutions that customers are paying their premium using waste. So it depends with the number of plastic bottles that you collect, and that will ultimately turn into a solution, an insurance protection that provides for health. We've also seen some of the innovations around, really enabling farmers to access climate-related solutions through use of indices, whereby they don't really need to go and check what is the impact on the farm,
right?
But really, measuring that based on the level at which, temperature and rainfall has been assessed using meteorological data sets.
Mm-hmm.
So these solutions are quite innovative, and the purpose for this is to ensure that customers can easily access insurance, they can easily be paid, but also really they can pay with whatever mechanisms that they have.
Wow, quite impressive results, I must admit. And I really wonder, you're already running quite a big program, quite successful in 20 countries across Africa. What's next for BimaLab? Are you hoping and planning to target the remaining half of the African continent?
Yeah, so this is an ecosystem play. BimaLab is Pan-African. And if you look at where we are, only over 90% of the African population have no protection.
Mm-hmm.
That means that insurance is only accessed by only 10% of the households. So that means that we really have a lot of work to do. And given that we've already in over 20 countries, our goal is to really expand and, go to the rest of the continent to provide those particular solutions. So far, we've managed to reach over 5 million Africans in those 20 countries. But if you look at the gap, still
a
over
huge hundreds of millions still to reach.
Yeah, 300 million people still need access because the continent is just over 1.4 billion. And if you look at it, for those people that require and are in that need, we really need to target 300 million people. And the goal for BimaLab is to reach 100 million people by 2030.
I know you recently opened and welcomed applications for your next cohort. What sort of insurtechs are you looking towards receiving this time round?
The challenge is already set. Talk about, are we able to provide solutions that are affordable? Are we able to provide solutions that are accessible? Are we able to create awareness? So the type of insurtechs and innovators we are looking for are those people that are built to address these African challenges. Climate is still a major issue across the continent. So we are looking for insurance innovators that will help us solve the climate challenge across the continent. Health and affordable health is still a big issue across the continent. We are looking at health tech solutions that will kind of close that particular gap. Africa is run by SMEs. Over 70% of the GDP is SME-led.
Right.
And these solutions or these businesses need protection. So we are looking at insurtechs that will enable that. And further, also just to mention, most women are still excluded and unprotected within the insurance space. So if we are going to also get gender-centric solutions, then we are looking for insurtechs that are coming in to enable our women to have access to financial solutions. So yeah, I would mention that climate, SME, health, and gender will be the key drivers of what we are looking for.
I mean, that's a very important work that you, Elias, and the team, and of course the wider FSD Africa organization is, carrying out, really offering people protection, dignity and comfort to be able to go about with their work and their lives. Any closing thoughts?
We are an ecosystem player. We are looking into, within the financial system, developing these financial products that are highly innovative.
Right.
We want to really be at the forefront of building the African resilience, not only by showcasing climate adaptation, but also really kind of building adaptation financing for the future of the continent. And this can only be done through highly innovative financial products, and insurance will provide an opportunity for protection, not only for the businesses that are looking into addressing these major challenges, but also for communities. So mine is just to mention that we have a journey that we are taking. We need to work as an ecosystem, innovators, insurance institutions, investors, and also the regulators towards the goal of closing the African protection gap.
Elias Omondi, all the best.
Thank you.